これから英語ディベートの説明を行います。まず、ディベートとは討論のことであり、この英語ディベートはイギリスの議会から発展したものだと言われています。次に、英語ディベートにおけるスピーカー、発言者の順序について説明します。まず、ディベートはガバメントサイド、与党とオポジションサイド、野党に分かれていて、まず与党の内閣総理大臣、プライムミニスターが1番目に話します。次に、野党のリーダーである、Leader of Opposition が2番目に話します。そして3番目と4番目は野党・与党の党員である、Member of Government and Opposition が3番目と4番目に話します。そして2番目と4番目、そして1番目と3番目の、それぞれの内容をまとめたものを、話すのがリプライスピーカー、5番目と6番目の人ですね。で、最後に普通はジャッジメントといって、ジャッジが、判定、どちらが勝ったのかということを、判決を下します。この大会、ミヤマカップ2020においては、視聴者の皆さんに、勝敗を決めていただきます。これで、英語ディベートの説明を終わります。ありがとうございました。
Hello, and I'm the Prime Minister Speaker of the government side for the motion this House would ban school uniforms. First, I would like to give our definition. We define banning school uniforms as, well, banning school uniforms and letting students wear what they please to school. However, we restrict this to learning appropriate clothing and not inappropriate clothing such as, well, crop tops, swimsuits, or just plain out nude. Now I'd like to introduce our stance. Our stance is protecting the students' safety and allowing them to study efficiently. Now I'd like to move to my first point. I believe that by banning school uniforms, we can protect students from dangerous beings by hiding their identity while they go to school. Well, first, it's very easy for people to tell which school you're going to by just looking at your uniform. This makes it easy for targeters such as predators or stalkers to gain your personal information. However, if we ban students from wearing school uniforms to school, this can result in providing them a good amount of security by hiding the school they go to while they go to school. This makes it really hard. This makes it harder for people to gain. This makes it harder for such beings to gain information on you. Thank you very much.
I am the leader of opposition, and our side believes that school uniforms should not be banned. First, I will be refuting the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said that by allowing school uniforms, it can help targeters identify the target school and can make it easier to target the students. However, we think that the targeters will target students anyway, no matter if the students are wearing school uniforms or not. We also believe that by having students wear uniforms, it can help investigators and other passerby to identify the student if they get into trouble. Therefore, we believe that the Prime Minister's point doesn't stand. Next, I will start speaking about our side's point. Our side has 3 points, and they are preventing bullying, making students responsible and secure, and to prepare for their future life. I will speak about preventing bullying, and the member of opposition will speak about the rest. Firstly, most bullies tend to target students that aren't fit in, and the most visible way to determine whether or not somebody is fit in is by looking at their fashion or appearance. However, by having everyone wear school uniforms, it can help students fit in, which basically will mean less bullying. Secondly, a school is a place where many people with different backgrounds gather. For example, a group of students might get bullied because of their quality of clothing, which is due to their family backgrounds. However, if the school has school uniforms, everyone will be wearing the same kind of clothing with the same kind of quality, which will prevent showing the inequalities between students who come from different family backgrounds, which will prevent bullying. Therefore, our side believes that school uniforms are essential because it can prevent bullying. Thank you.
School uniforms hinder students from concentrating on their studies, and therefore we as the government believe that it needs to be banned. Now let me move on to my refutation to the first opposition speaker. He said that school uniforms will prevent clothing-related bullying. Well, although we do agree that clothing-related bullying might decrease, it wouldn't make much of a change. Well, this is because even if clothing-related bullying stops, other kinds of bullying will take its place. And rather than doing that, teaching the bullies not to bully is way more realistic. Although it might be hard to change the bully's mind, it is still better than endlessly removing reasons for bullying. I will now move on to my point: diversity. School uniforms can't take diversity into account. Well, there is a wide range of diversity in the people who go to school, and so every student has different needs. At home, these students can wear what fits their needs the most, so they can stay comfortable. However, as for school uniforms, most of the time they are all same for everyone. This is inevitable because it is impossible to consider every single student's needs. Although it is inevitable, it is still a critical problem. Since school uniforms are uncomfortable for most people, it decreases the quality of the students' concentration, which leads to the overall decrease in the students' ability to learn. The main purpose of school is to learn, but in this way, school uniforms hinder students from doing so, and this situation must be changed. The quickest way to solve this is to ban school uniforms and have students wear their own clothes to school. And this is way better than introducing order-made school uniforms because since the factories can't mass produce them, it will cost more. And also, school uniforms can only be used at school. So rather than having students buy expensive order-made uniforms that can only be used at school, it is better. We should have them wear their comfortable clothes, which they already have, that can also be used at other places than school. Furthermore, if the people with the needs are the only people wearing their own clothes, they'll get bullied because it becomes obvious that he or she has those needs, and they will stick out, making them a perfect target for bullies. But if the students are all wearing their own clothes, it would make it harder for them to be bullied because they will be less noticeable. And there's no alternative that solves this problem better than banning school uniforms. For example, LGBT students will be forced to classify their own gender, even though there's way more to it. And although they might be allowed to wear the uniform of their choice, they will stick out because a lot of people will find it unusual. However, if everyone is to wear their own clothes, the LGBT students can wear gender-neutral clothes, and no one will make fun of them for it. And in these ways, banning school uniforms will help the wide diversity of people that go to school. Enforcing this ban will help both the students and the teachers. As I said before, students will be able to study comfortably, and the quality of their concentration will get better. If the students are more concentrated, the teachers will be motivated to work harder because they'll feel like their lesson is actually benefiting the students. We as the government believe that it is our responsibility to create an environment where students can study efficiently, and therefore we strongly believe that school uniforms have to be banned. Thank you.
Hello, I'm the member of opposition, and we strongly believe that school uniforms should never be abolished. I will start off by refuting to the member of government. The member of government stated that school uniforms should be abolished because they do not take diversity into account. Specifically, he talked about how school uniforms are uncomfortable and that students will not be able to focus on schoolwork, which leads to a decline in academic ability. Yes, we do admit that school uniforms are uncomfortable for some students, but will getting rid of them really solve the problem? We do not think so. This is because those students would have to wear business suits when they start working in the future. As the government side stated, school uniforms, very similar to business suits, are uncomfortable. This will cause a serious problem because if people cannot focus while working and cannot produce results, they will most likely be fired, and which will risk their lives. To prevent this from happening, we believe that we should make the students get used to school uniforms from a young age so that they can spend a carefree life in the future. Now I would like to move on to my points. The leader of opposition talked about how school uniforms can prevent bullying, so I will talk about the second point, which is about future life, and the third point, which is about responsibility and security. First, I will talk about future life, which also connects to my reputation. We believe that school uniforms help students in the future because more than half of companies in Japan have uniforms or have their employees wear business suits. This means that the number of students who are going to wear business suits in the future will overcome the number of students who will not have any designated clothing. Therefore, if students familiarize themselves with school uniforms, they will be more comfortable when they start working. And also, not only does school uniform help with jobs, but also it helps in formal situations as well. When we become adults, formal situations will be unavoidable. There will be numerous times when we will have to attend meetings or ceremonies, so it means that we will have to wear formal clothes that many times. Now, the government side misunderstood the importance of this point because they neglected the fact that adults have many occasions where they need to wear formal clothes and only care to think about the student's teenage life. I would now like to talk about the third and final point, which is about security and responsibility. For example, school uniforms play an important role when a school goes on to a trip because teachers will be able to keep track of all the students. This is very important since teachers have the responsibility to manage all the students. School uniforms help in other situations as well. Students would behave well on, for example, trains, because if they are disturbing other passengers, the school will receive a complaint. Therefore, school uniforms help remind the students to be responsible while outside of school as well. Because of these reasons, school uniforms are mandatory and they can never be abolished. Thank you.
The main class point in this debate is about quality of school life and safety. Firstly, I would like to talk about the quality of school life. We have clearly stated that it will decrease and alleviate bullying cases, but they haven't effectively rebutted to this point, and have even conceded this point by admitting that it will decrease bullying, so this point stands. The government side has said that because school uniforms are uncomfortable, it is impossible to focus on studying. But we have turned this point down by stating that they will wear uniforms in the future anyways, so they should get used to uniforms right now. So by wearing uniforms at school, it will prepare them for the future, which in reality is helping them. So there is no reason to complain. We have also stated that uniforms will help teachers because of responsibility. Teachers have a lot of responsibility because they have to manage about 40 students all by themselves. School uniforms massively helps the teachers to locate their students. So school uniforms not only benefit students, but they also benefit teachers as well. Because these two reasons stand, we have won the first clash point about quality of school life. The second clash point was about safety. The government side stated that because of school uniforms, it will become easier for predators to target their students down. But we have turned this point down by stating that predators choose their targets based on certain factors, and school uniforms don't change anything. We have pointed out that school uniforms benefit teachers and students because it will help teachers find students when they are somewhere else from school, for instance, field trips. Because of these 2 points, we have also won the second clash point about safety. We have won both clash points, so it's evident that we have won this debate. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, I'm Prime Minister Reply, and I would like to start my speech by repeating to the member of opposition. The first, he has said that school uniforms make it easier to keep track of students, but with that point does not stand because first, if the teachers know each students faces, then the need for school uniforms does not exist. And besides, well, not having school uniforms and having the students wear casual clothing would make it more easier to spot these students, and therefore what they are saying is actually the opposite, and therefore their point does not stand. And also they have said that with school uniforms, students would have a sense of having to behave well. But if you think about it, well, indeed, Konyocha students do behave well in trains, but that is kind of misleading, because if you look around the entire country, there are many students who behave terribly in trains, even if they wear school uniforms. Therefore, your point does not stand. Also, they've said that school uniforms are a preparation of business suits, but companies are starting to allow employees to wear anything they want, and therefore, business suits aren't really not that relevant as it was anymore. And besides, working at home is also becoming a major thing, and because of that, business suits aren't relevant as it was, and it is kind of becoming obsolete, and therefore, your point does not stand as well. Okay, so moving on, the class points for this debate is about safety and whether students are going to be able to study efficiently. So, as the opposition's team has said, they said that school uniforms can prevent bullying, but as our teammate has responded, that point is not valid, and also, as I have repeated, their other 2 points do not stand as well, and therefore they have failed to prove that students can study efficiently and ensure safety. And in contrast, we, the team in government, has proven that school uniforms, not having school uniforms would make it hard for targeters to target students, and that proves that not having school uniforms would make a much more safe life. And also, by accepting diversity, as our teammate has said, students will be able to study more efficiently than we can now, and therefore, we believe that we have won this debate. Thank you.